Okay,
Sure.
cool. Marcus, it's great to meet you. Before we get into your life as an entrepreneur, I want to begin with living through the last 3.5 years of the pandemic. How did you get through it? How did it change you?
Thank you. Great. First off, great show. Thank you. I'm glad to be here. The last 3 years, man, the pandemic was was rough. I experienced a lot. I was laid off from a major contracting gig that I had. And then towards kind of the end of COVID, I caught COVID and almost died. So I was hospitalized for about a month and a half, and then I was in rehab and recovery for 3 to 4 months. And that changed me. That shifted me. That shifted how I do business. That shifted how I view the world. And I realized it was a reminder, a wake up call that our time isn't infinite, and I need to. It's not about me. It's not about you. It's not about us. The podcast. I'm a podcaster just like yourself, and I'm in business, and I realize the things we do. Money is a byproduct of service. And so the things I invest in now, the things that I build and I do should impact the world in a positive way. And so that's how I live now. What are they going to write on your headstone when you're gone? And if you're not happy with that, if you're not proud of that, is that if that's something you can't live with, then change today, not tomorrow. So it
Yeah.
was huge, huge the last 3 years, but I'm here and I'm
Yeah.
grateful.
Good. So let's get to the essence and core of what you do for a living. I'm going to put you in front of a room of third graders. It's career day. And one of the kids is curious and says, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do you answer that child?
Great question. Here's a lollipop, and I'm gonna say to that child that I am a entrepreneur. But more so, I am a philanthropist, and I am doing multiple different things. I'm a podcaster, real estate investor, cannabis dispensary owner, depending on the age of the room, and at ATM um investor as well. So I do a multitude of things. All of these things create residual income for me that has allowed me to diversify and build and give back, and all of these things result in time. The more residual income you have, the more you're able to live and live a better quality life, a more abundant life, and you get back time. Something that we don't have in abundance and we don't have for infinity is time. And so I am a time management professional because
Right.
I'm an entrepreneur.
So what did you want to be in the third grade? What was your dream?
My dream in the third grade, I thought I was going to be a police officer,
Yeah.
and I wanted to help people. I've always had a servant mindset even from young. And so I wanted to be a law enforcement officer. I wanted to help people. I wanted to be the hero. I wanted to save the cat out of the tree, right? And then that as I got older, you started seeing all the media attention around police officers and law enforcement, right? Now the introduction of body cams and all of these different things to keep everybody safe and everyone on the same playing field. So that has shifted and that has changed. And I think that happens a lot in life. Our things are going to change. Life isn't this consistent thing. Then if you're not changing with it, you're in trouble.
Yeah, it is bizarre how under the microscope that's gotten. When I was a kid, I used to watch Chips and I thought, wow, that'd be fun to get out there on the road and, be part of the California Highway Patrol. And then you get older and you realize, man, I think when I started watching the show Cops, I was like, that's not what this was. It's a different world. So yeah, it's wild.
It's
And
all of
then
that. Knight Rider, Texas Ranger, all of that, right?
yeah,
Chuck
yeah.
Norris.
It's awfully glamorized. So, talk to me a little bit about the seeds of entrepreneurship, how this grew into you. Where were you born and raised, and how did these fundamental notions get into you to become who you are today?
So growing up, I was always pushed to be an academic. I was not an athlete. I was born and raised in the Virgin Islands, the U.S. Virgin Islands, so a United States territory. So I was always a citizen, but I wasn't a part of the 50 continental states. And so, born and raised, and I just grew up with around a lot of educators. Both my parents are educators; they're both teachers, and so that was kind of the mindset: go to school, get a good grades, get a good education. And then I graduated, and after graduation, my father kind of, busted in my room. I'm still in my tux. My father busted in my room, and he's like, "Son, I kind of messed up. I didn't set any money aside for you. I didn't have any college funds set aside so you can go to a prestigious school or even a decent school." And so I joined the military, and I did 8 years in the United States Navy, served my country, and then got out in 2014. And how I got my feet wet in entrepreneurship, because I was a veteran and I had just gotten out, and it was difficult. It was difficult to find employment. It was very hard, and I went from job to job to job, and I got my feet wet first in multi-level marketing, and that's what kind of gave me the taste of business and replacing your W-2 with LLCs and corporations, and supplementing your income and residual income, passive income. My first foot in the door was multi-level marketing.
So, who's been kind of an inspiration or a hero for you in your drive? You obviously have a lot of drive and ambition. Where did that come from?
My father. My father is my hero. My father, I grew up with him most of my life, and he worked, 3 or 4 jobs to support me and my siblings. So, hardest working man I ever knew, hardest working man I had ever seen in my life. And my father was pivotal in instilling values and a moral compass, and I'm seeing that work ethic, right? And so when my dad is working 3, 4 jobs. And so, when you see your father come home from one job, sleep for an hour, and then literally go to the next job, and you're not going to see him until, 1 a.m. the next day, that's a hardworking man. And that is ingrained in me, the work ethic that I've always had since 11 years old. I've been working since I've been 11 years old.
Wow. So, from an entrepreneur standpoint, what business model do you admire the most? What CEO, what corporation, what's a model that you look up to?
And this is going to, thank you. Great question. This is going to sound very cliche. What I admire real estate. Real estate is the wealth accumulation, right? Most successful people, most of the millionaires and trillionaires that we hear about today, got their feet wet in some way or form in real estate. So I admire the business model and the aspect of it. And that was my very first investment. I was house hacking, and started from there, and lived in one side, rented out the other, maintained it, worked it, then just scale from there. And so I respected the industry. It was the quickest amount of money I'd ever made in my life. Right? It was, you rent your home out or your property out, and someone hands you a check the next month. When I posted my first ad, I had a hit within 1 hour,
Wow.
of posting the ad, and then someone was at the door with, a $2,000 check. It was the fastest money I'd ever made or seen. So I really admire and respect, have a healthy respect for real estate investors.
So, what is your drive every day? You obviously are highly driven. What is the thing that gets you out of bed? What is the thing that not only makes you excel as an entrepreneur, but evolve as a person?
What I wake up to is what I kind of hovered over earlier. I really appreciate what I'm doing now more so than I've ever appreciated before. And so what do I mean by that? And so I'm a cannabis dispensary owner. And a lot of people look at me sometimes because they see, oh, you're selling weed. Well, it's more than that, right? I'm helping people. I'm helping people live a better quality life. And so I don't know if you can see this, but I'm gonna try and show it to you as best I can. And so this is my one of my locations here in the Virginia Beach area.
Yeah,
And what I'm very proud of is that's consistently 5-star reviews. I have
yeah,
no 1 stars, I have no 2 stars. I have consistently earned 5-star reviews.
absolutely.
And so that's not me. that is what someone else said about how I'm helping them.
Yeah.
And so what wakes me up and what motivates me every day is the people's lives I'm able to impact with the products and services that I provide. And that is my wake up call. That is when you know you are where you're supposed to be in life and you're doing the most good, right?
Yeah.
And it's not about the money. It pays me and I appreciate it. But if I can, someone who has insomnia, right? We're dealing with a pandemic of obesity, insomnia, PTSD, and I can offer you something that helps you. I had a client review on there that they hadn't slept comfortably in over 10 plus years. And they purchased something from me and they were able to get the best sleep of their life. And so that's what I'm proud of. It's not about me.
Yeah.
It's about leaving something behind after I'm not here.
You know, we legalized it in Missouri, and I still to this day can't believe that it's actually something that people can go and just consume. And but the problem with this market is that there's this stigmata that's been put on it for so long, you know, and it's really kind of emblematic of how our political system works. It's like money is king. So if the alcohol distributors in the country pay more money, it overshadows, you know, things like THC. And really, there's so many things that go into helping so many people that have chronic pain, that have insomnia, that have all these issues. Of course, there's recreational. We celebrate recreational booze all the time. You know, we've done it for years and years. And that's probably one of the most destructive things on the human organism than anything else. You know, so it's really all about perception, and you know this, but I just find it weird that we've demonized certain things in our society because capitalistic forces have been there to do it because there's just more money to be made out of it.
Absolutely. There's more money to be made in the long-term care than the preventative care,
Yeah,
right? If I can spread this cancer treatment out. Well, I can sell you something that may help minimize that. I can't get
yeah,
rid of it, I can't cure it, but if I can give you a better quality of life in the process, I can help the young child that's suffering from um um I forget what you call it, but it's that neural um disability where they break out into shivers and their convulsions just sporadically, and then THC is known to actually help with that.
yeah.
But that's I don't have customers every day. I don't have customers that buy my products every day or every week because it's take as needed. It's not
Hmm.
take every week. If I can give you a better quality of life and keep your kidney intact and your liver is intact, that's what I want.
Absolutely. So, you know, I always hear from cancer patients, especially, that they get to that point where they're on the edge of the doorstep of leaving this reality, and they're back in and they just see life in a completely different way. Everything feels different. You start saying yes more. Was that the wake up call that you went through?
Absolutely. That is a wake up call because COVID was a different animal, right? COVID was one of the unique illnesses that we faced where you could not receive visitors. So people were dying in their deathbed alone. And that's huge. There's people that may want to see you, might want to see you. I I I remember a mother, her son was autistic, and the nurses and doctors are fighting with this child every day, and she had to get legal involved so that, listen, you can fight with my son, you can fight with my child, but I need to be in that room with them, and me being there will relax them. And she had to get legal involved just to be able to be with her son in case COVID killed him. And they finally let her in, and the doctors and nurses finally realized, wow, we can give him his medicine, we can treat him, we can monitor him because his mother's in the room. COVID flipped everybody. It flipped us on our backsides, man, and it really showed us that tomorrow's not promised. And the people that you love, tell them today. Don't wait. Tell them right now. Call them up right now. Mom, dad, aunt, uncle, sister, brother, son, daughter, I love you. I love you today. I love you tomorrow. I'll always love
Yeah, my son's on the spectrum. He's 19, and there's no way they'd have to have an entire army to hold me back. There would be no second that I wouldn't be, or he
with
wouldn't
them.
be with me. Yeah, 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 yeah. So yeah, that's deep, But that you're right. When you said that, it reminds me of the turtle that gets on his back and his legs are just flopping everywhere. He can't go anywhere. And that's what happened. Because I thought about that, the disruption that happened wasn't like one or two things or three things. It was everything. Everything was canceled. Everything was modified. Everything was kind of flipped upside down. And, I've lived seeing this reality in a whole different way through my son, having to kind of fight all the time to get to a better place that's normal for most people to get to, normal milestones, normal things. So, going through this pandemic and the one thing that I was reassured of with the youth was that there's going to be a new level of resiliency. You know, Things just get canceled. And I remember before this, when there was a snow day or something wouldn't happen, it would create this kind of wave of anxiety. And that was calmed by the fact, and there were silver linings that I think went into it. There was wake up calls. We had to look within and figure things out. But yeah, what a strange time, man. And we're still all going through PTSD. And what you're doing out there is helping people in I would say in a very safe, logical way, like deal and kind of smooth their way through kind of this idea. I always feel like we're kind of the people from Revelations, the left behinders. We're like all we we survived and we're all here and we're just trying to do the best we can.
Absolutely. And thank you for that. Thank you for saying that. And thank you for you and your son and being there and being involved and being, just adamant about being with them. You're right. Everything you said was 1000% correct. The biggest wake up call, the other wake up call is your job isn't secure. I think you and I could agree. This COVID showed so many entrepreneurs, entrepreneurship, residual income, passive income. Your job is not secure.
Yeah.
I remember during the pandemic watching from a hospital bed, your grandmother selling Etsy. She's selling paparazzi. She's selling the world woke up and was like, listen, I need to make money because I have to pay these bills. And so now everybody has now figured out and seen that your employer isn't as safe as we thought it was.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I need to do something else. I need to figure out something else. I need to have something else for if this ever happens again.
Yeah. So of all of the things that you've done, overcome, and evolved into, what are you the proudest of?
I great question. I am proud of what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
I'm proud of I'm not saying I'm glad that I had COVID and I experienced that because that was a really dark time, but I'm really proud of myself right now. And I'm really proud of the work that I'm doing, the the ability that I have to give and love on people. Um those reviews again, um am I making money? Some, but I also give products away, right? If people have contacted my company, and they're like, "Listen, I don't have the money right now, um, but my husband just passed, and I haven't slept a wink in weeks." And I'm like, "Here you go, try this," and they come back. I'm really proud of my podcast. Um, I don't charge people to be on my podcast right now. I don't charge people to be on my podcast. And one of the happiest moments, this lady, she was on the show. She's a director at a university, and she has a business that connects with companies to offer educational perks and benefits and education to the employees so that they can go into college with minimal debt. And she has this program. I interviewed on the show. It got about, I think, like 14,000 views. But what was bigger, and this was powerful, someone from Amazon, a C-suite level executive from Amazon, found that interview, contacted her, and she was able to be incorporated into that Amazon site locations. And now they offer this educational course and program to their Amazon staff. And that was powerful for me because again, I don't charge. She found me, came back to me, and said, Marcus, I want to thank you for the interview, and I want to pay you. And she compensated me, and I knew the deal that she got from Amazon was a major deal because she came back and compensated me for it. So that's good work, man.
Yeah.
That's really good work.
Absolutely. You know, one thing I am on the side is I'm a visual artist, and I make different pieces of artwork and I just drop them off. And I've been doing this for like 14, 15 years, and there's a note and it's like, go on an adventure. Keep it or put it somewhere and take a picture. And I remember in the early days, someone took an old paper picture on top of Pikes Peak and sent it to me in the mail. And I get people that do that and they're like, I found it. I have it in my kitchen. I love it. And it's just those little things because we're just not here that long. Artwork can really like light up. That's a lifetime commitment. And if you like it, you know, it one way or another, it'll all come back. You know, just be good to each other. Take care of each other, you know?
So true.
So so
Bravo.
yeah, it's
Bravo.
fun. It's fun, man. It's an adventure. It's like why not? You know, I mean, because money's not. I mean, it's good. It's great, like you said. It gives you an expansive level of possibility. But at the end of the day, when you're on the edge of this reality and you feel like you're going to leave, you ain't taking any cash, man. You ain't taking 1 cent. What you're going to do is you're going to take that epitaph on your tombstone. That's what you're taking. So. Um, I get it. Maybe it's just me being older and sentimental, over 50. I'm starting to realize that I'm over halfway through this journey, you know, and you just gotta, you know, hold on to the wisdom and just write it as hard as you can.
No, man, you look good. You look
We,
good. So
we,
kudos to you. And you're right. You're right.
Thank you. Yeah, we do what we can. So let me ask you this. At the end of the day, everyone has this perception of you. You have all these different, you're an entrepreneur, you're a podcast host, you're just a human. So everyone has this perception, family, friends, your listeners, clients, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I am a philanthropist. I think investors are the change makers. I think philanthropy is should be everyone's goal is to create impact and to make a difference in the world. That's what I try to scope that picture of people's perception of me. So when people see me, they're like, "Oh, Marcus is a business owner. Marcus is making money. Marcus is doing all of this stuff." Yes, yes, but the money and the compensation is a tool to help. It's a
Yeah.
tool to change the world. It's a tool to make a difference. If you want to change something, whether locally or globally, put your money where your mouth is,
Yeah.
and that's the real test, right? It's not oh well I you know I made this much at my organization. Okay, how many people did you help? No one cared. No one really cares how much money you made. Like you said, I can't take it with me.
Yeah.
How many people? There was I think, a law enforcement officer in New York. He was like the chief of police, nothing huge. But when he passed, the mayor of the city came out, a couple of celebrities came out, and he had the biggest going away that would rival most A-list celebrities and presidents. But the reason why is the impact he was able to create while in law enforcement, and that's law enforcement. You know,
Yeah.
he's a firefighter, law enforcement firefighter part time, law enforcement full time, but he created impact, and people loved him, and he helped so many different people.
Yeah.
That's what I try and I want to help you. I want to help people.
That's awesome. So, Marcus, if anyone out there wants to learn more about your business, your podcast, your philanthropic efforts, everything about you, where can they go?
They can find me on Gentleman Style Podcast. That's God, Family, Self Finance. Look for the big microphone, or you can email me directly at marcus@gentlemanstylepodcast.com.
Marcus Norman, thank you, sir. I appreciate your story. It's been wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Best of luck. Take care.
You too.